Hey guys, what's up? This is Drew's Reviews here to review Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. And I have to be honest with you, this movie was disappointing. I thought with after the slow and dull and unnecessary Part 1 of the Hunger Games Mockingjay concluding chapter was slow, I thought this was going to be a fast, action-paced, epic conclusion, and it turns out that's not the case. This movie dragged on in a lot of filler moments, which proved how unnecessary and stupid it was to divide this last chapter in the Hunger Games story into two parts. I mean, this was a terrible, terrible decision. I'm sorry. I didn't read the books, so I can't imagine how angry the fans of the books must be, but I feel like this is a disservice to the storyline and what they created. I mean, this is very disappointing and discouraging because the first two movies were really good, and Jennifer Lawrence gives it her all, as she did in this movie. She was great in the role. It wasn't her fault. She was great as Katniss Everdeen. But let me talk about the few positives of this movie. The action scenes, the three of them that took place, were highly entertaining. They were very brief but short. There was a scene in the tunnels with these creatures where the team faced off against them, and that was probably the most exciting scene in the movie, which is very disappointing because that was one scene that just supposed to be part of this epic journey that they're going on to defeat Snow and take back the capital. And I felt like this movie was very dull and quiet, and it was always in the dark. It just didn't have the excitement. I mean, I'm wondering, like, where's the hype for this movie? And there is none, because this movie isn't as exciting as it should be. That's why no one's talking about it, because they just killed the vibe and the momentum of the series with splitting these movies into two parts. They could have easily made a movie with all these unnecessary parts in there and kept this a great trilogy, but no, they decided to get greedy and split the movie into two parts, making for an uneven and unbalanced story with a lot of slow, boring parts, instead of having a shorter movie with the action scenes that we deserved and having the story be more cohesive and consistent. It was a disappointing movie. I wasn't expecting it to be that disappointing because the first part was really disappointing. I mean, this movie is better than part one, I will say, because it concludes the whole story, but it's still a bit of a letdown. But it's definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen. There's some parts that are enjoyable. Jennifer Lawrence is great as Katniss, and it does conclude the storyline, but I feel like it just needed more to bring in the conclusion of a series that had been anticipated for a pretty long time. So the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, fortunately for me, will get a 6.7 out of 10. Yes, it's an alright movie. It's not the worst movie ever, but it's one of the worst in the series, and this should have been the highlight of the movie series for the Hunger Games. It should have been the epic conclusion, but unfortunately it's not. And I hope you guys like what you see. If not, then you're probably alone, because a lot of people didn't like this movie. So I hope you guys take care, and I'll see you guys later.